morning, class. Are you all there?
Good morning.
Shall I start?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Last time we talked about endometriosis, various factors causing endometriosis, the etiology, differential diagnosis, and pathophysiology of endometriosis. Today topic is management of endometriosis. Before going to the management of endometriosis, let's revise something about endometriosis. Like if you define endometriosis, this is as simple as the presence of endometrial tissue outside the endometrial or the uterine cavity. So if there is endometrial tissue which consists of the functional stroma in a gland which is outside the uterine cavity, this condition is called endometriosis. This is the simple definition of endometriosis. And there are various theories which explain the presence of development of endometriosis. The most important and easily understandable theory of endometriosis is the retrograde menstruation. Retrograde menstruation is like the menstrual blood which has to come down to the vagina is going and spilling into the pelvic peritoneum through the fallopian tube. So this is called retrograde menstruation. There are various causes of retrograde menstruation, like there is if there is obstruction in the lower genital tract that allows the fluid or blood of menstrual cycle going towards the pelvic cavity, and there is spillage of the blood which contains endometrial fragments from the uterine cavity, and that gets implanted in the pelvic peritoneum. This is the most understandable theory of the endometriosis. Second theory is the coelomic metaplasia theory. Like I told you last time also, metaplasia is just differentiation of the one type of the epithelium into the another mature epithelium. So any type of the epithelium in the body can be changed into the endometrium-like tissue by various other immunological factors and environmental factors. That explains the coelomic metaplasia theory. Some of the lymphatic and hematogenous theories are still there, and so these are the basically important theories which explain the etiology of endometriosis. Talking about the different clinical features of endometriosis, there are a long list of clinical features of endometriosis, but most important clinical feature when the patient presents to us is like most important is the dysmenorrhea. Second is the dyspareunia. Third is the like deep-seated pelvic pain, and the fourth, not the least, is the difficulty in conceiving. That means the infertility. So these are the four most important clinical features with endometriosis, and this, to make it easy to understand, we can say like 4 Ds. Initially you used to call it 3 Ds. Nowadays the deep-seated pelvic pain is also added, so there are 4 Ds in the clinical feature of endometriosis. So always remember dysmenorrhea, dyspareunia, difficulty in conceiving, and deep-seated pelvic pain. These are the clinical features of endometriosis. Regarding diagnosis of endometriosis, endometriosis is diagnosed only by the histopathology. For the definite diagnosis of endometriosis, you have to do biopsy and examine the tissue obtained, and that tissue must contain endometrial stroma and the gland, which is, if there is gland and that gets respond to the body hormone, female body hormones, that is the functional endometrium. And for the diagnosis of endometriosis, for the definite diagnosis, you always have to take biopsy from that particular site. But with all these clinical features and other some important investigations parameters, you can diagnose endometriosis in around 90% of the cases, and you can start treatment. You don't have to always take out the biopsy for endometriosis, because most of the clinical features are very specific to for the endometriosis, so you can start treatment. So these are the some overview of endometriosis. We discussed, I think, long time ago about this. Today we are here to discuss about the management of endometriosis, how we manage a case when it is diagnosed either by the clinical features or by the histopathological method. Doesn't matter. You have to manage the case of endometriosis. Endometriosis management, just like in any other conditions, there are various methods of management, options for the management of endometriosis. Starting from the medical treatment for endometriosis. Second is the surgical treatment of endometriosis. Various surgeries can be done for endometriosis. And the third is the combined surgical and the medical method of management of endometriosis. Our aim when managing a case of endometriosis, first of all, you have to understand the pathophysiology of endometriosis. We discussed in the last class. Basically, what happens in the endometriosis is like there are functioning endometrium in the abnormal sites, ectopic sites, that is abnormal sites, and that functional endometrium responds to the body hormones, especially the estrogen and progesterone, just like in menstruation. You have to understand that. Okay, when you understand that functioning endometrium responds just like the endometrium of the uterus, and it happens the same thing what happens in the uterine cavity in the ectopic endometrium as well. There will be the proliferative phase just like in the normal endometrium. There will be the secretory phase just like in the normal endometrium, and there will be bleeding in menstrual phase. That happens in the abnormal site endometrium also. So our aim when we manage a case of endometrium, you should remember that your aim is to create such situation where you can do something, you can alter the level of the hormone, or you can alter the responsiveness of that particular tissue. Okay, our aim should be targeted to these two important points. One is either you decrease or stop the production of hormone. Second is like if you cannot stop or you cannot decrease the level of the hormone, your aim is to target to the to the tissue where responsive tissue, target tissue where that hormone acts, so that normal level of the hormone does not act normally on the ectopic endometrium. Okay, so there are two things, like creating a body scenario, body environment in such thing, like such way that there should be a pseudo pregnancy level. That is pseudo pregnancy level, there is no ovulation. They say when there is no ovulation, there is no production of estrogen and progesterone, and that there is less production of estrogen and progesterone level is balanced during pregnancy, so there is no excessive estrogen, and so the level will be decreased and the effect on the ectopic endometrial pregnancy status in the female body. Next is the pseudo-menopausal status of the female body. In menopause, what happens is the decreased level of the estrogen. So in scenario, what happens is that we create such thing that there will be less amount of the estrogen in the body. So it creates, this is not menopause, but this creates the environment which just like is the menopause. So this is called pseudo-menopausal status in the female body. So these are the two most important things which are responsible for the management or degradation or the regression of the endometrial tissue into ectopic endometrial tissues, which are giving the symptoms to the patient. Medical management, like produces large amount of the estrogen and which acts on the endometrial tissue and menstruation, and they will be bleeding the abnormal sites and of all these clinical features of 4Ds, and along with that there are other clinical features also. One thing I want to tell you here is like role of the estrogen in endometriosis. What happens is when you talk about the intracellular thing, when there is high level of the estrogen, there is one enzyme which is responsible for the production of the estrogen that is there in the cellular level. So that will be stimulated by high level of the estrogen. That in the enzymes is called the aromatase, and high estrogen stimulates the aromatase, and there will be more of the estrogen production in the intracellular level. So there will be cell growth again, and all the features will be clinical features will be aggravated. This is at the cellular level. What happens in the cellular level when there is estrogen, high estrogen, that stimulates aromatase. Again, aromatase increases the level of the estrogen, and the patient symptoms increases. So that has to be understand when the treating a case of endometriosis with medical management. Aromatase in endometriosis, I told you, aromatase is the key for the biosynthesis of the estrogen at cellular level. In patients with aromatase expression in higher in ectopic endometriosis, when there is normal endometrium and another is a ectopic endometrium, the activity of the aromatase is more in the ectopic endometrium, that is the endometriosis tissue. So there will be high when there is high level of the aromatase activities, the production of the estrogen is more, that causes autocrine effect on that cell and causes more of the production of estrogen. Medical management, like I told you, where we should target while managing a case of endometriosis. First is the medical management is there to modulate the level of the hormone in the body, that in the form of the either decrease or stop the production of the hormone or antagonize the action of the hormone. So this is mainly based on the medical management. So medical management is done reduce the symptom patient and to the level of the estrogen in the body, I to either in the at the level of the production or antagonize the action at the level of the target tissue. Starting the medical management, first and the most important medications for the endometriosis, those presented with dysmenorrhea, is the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, is the first choice drug for the dysmenorrhea patient. If the patient has isolated dysmenorrhea only and she has a endometriosis, so your first option should be the anti-inflammatory, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medications, which is a proven, which has a proven efficacy for treatment of primary dysmenorrhea and acceptable. There is not much side effects with this medication if it is taken like during menstruation only, and this is cost effective and this is easily available. These are the most important factors which is related to the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs with good outcomes in case of dysmenorrhea with endometriosis. Next medication is the combined oral contraceptive pills. Oral contraceptive pills is the second option for the medical management of endometriosis. When you prescribe a patient with oral contraceptive pills, especially combined oral contraceptive pills, it decreases the level of the endogenous estrogen. Why? This is a contraceptive method. Combined oral contraceptive method pill causes like stop or decrease the ovulation. When there is no ovulation, how does it cause like decreased ovulation? You should know it causes a decreased level of the follicle stimulating hormone. When there is decreased level of the follicle stimulating hormones, the Graafian follicle is not developing in a series of steps, and there will be less or the no production of estrogen by the Graafian follicles. So this is how the combined oral contraceptive pills decreases the ovulation. When there is decreased ovulation and when there is like a failure in the development of the Graafian follicle, production of the estrogen will be decreased. When this production of estrogen is decreased, the patient will be less symptomatic in case of endometriosis. This is how it acts in the endometriosis. So you can prescribe combined oral contraceptive pills in case of endometriosis, thinking that it decreases or it stops the ovulation and decreases the estrogen. You can prescribe this medication for a long time. It has got a very minimum side effect, which can be like it disappears within a few months of starting the treatment. Like initial stage, the patient can complain of headache and nausea, things like that, because of the estrogen and progesterone. Later on, it will vanish and the patient will be feeling better after a few months, a couple of months of starting the medication. So this is the one best medication for the patient who is having dysmenorrhea, who is having deep-seated pelvic pain, and this is not a good medication for those patients who has difficulty in conception, because this is the oral contraceptive pills. So those patients who doesn't want to be pregnant, you can prescribe this medication for that time being, and you can give this medication for years. And for endometriosis, you can wean off this medication after 2 years, and after that you can again evaluate the patient and you can start or stop the medication according to the scenario. Next medication is a medical management is done by danazol. Danazol is one medication which has got actually it is androgenic medication. It has got anti-estrogenic property, anti-progesterogenic property, and this has androgenic effect. Okay, so this danazol is a very good medication for the management of endometriosis. This is among the oldest of medical therapies for endometriosis. It inhibits the mid-cycle for follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone surge and prevents steroidogenesis in the corpus luteum as well. Higher incidence of adverse effects, and this is actually adverse effects are very noticeable with this medication. So this nowadays with the coming of new generation medications, this medication is not that much used because of its bad side effect of androgenic action. So it causes like female will complain who has taken danazol, she will complain of oily skin, acne, weight gain, and sometimes there is deafening of voice also, and hirsutism. These are the most pronounced complication or side effect of danazol. Whenever a patient is taking danazol, if she complains of change in her voice, she has to stop this medication. So it has got certain unbearable androgenic effect. So this medication is not that much in use nowadays because of the new coming medical or the better medicines for the management of endometriosis. But this is the very oldest and established medications which had really did good in the past for the medical management of endometriosis. Another medications is gonadotropin releasing hormone agonist. This is after danazol it came, and this became very popular in management of endometriosis. It produces the hypogonadic states through down regulation of the pituitary glands. So it is a gonadotropin releasing hormone agonist. What happens is like it is effective as other medical therapies in relieving pain and reducing progression of the disease, and the efficacy is limited to pain suppression. No fertility improvement will be there with this medication. So those patients who who wants to be pregnant, those patients are not a good candidate for the GnRH agonist. And disadvantages of this medication includes like this is very expensive medicine, and more of the patients who are taking GnRH agonist, they have bone mineral density, loss of bone mineral density more if you compare with other type of hormones, and sometimes the intolerable hypoestrogenic side effects can be done because this medications again decreases the production of estrogen, and the patient will complain of all the symptoms of menopause because it creates pseudomenopausal status. So this hypoestrogenic side effects condition can be unbearable for those patients, young patients taking this medication also. That has to be tackled with another management termed add-back theory. What happens is if we prescribe GnRH agonist for those patients for the effect of anti-estrogenic, to combat the effect of the anti-estrogenic side effect of this medication, we can add low level of the estrogen, which will relieve the symptoms of hypoestrogenemia, as well as which will not have effect on the growth of the ectopic endometrium. So in that level, we can do add back medications for the GnRH analogs and agonist. You have to understand this medication, it creates pseudomenopausal conditions. So if the patient has very low level of the estrogen, you can add low level of the estrogen for that particular patient as add back theory or add back mechanism for the treatment of endometriosis with a very low level of the estrogen, which is enough to alleviate the symptoms of menopause, but it has no effect on the endometriosis. So in that way, you have to prescribe low level of the estrogen for those patients taking GnRH. The mechanism of action of GnRH, you all know, it immediately blocks the GnRH. Immediately, it acts on the receptors, and agonist is initially what happens. There is an increase, its effect will be increased. Later on, there will be a down regulation, and the production of estrogen will be stops or decreased. Another medication is the progesterone, different types of the progesterone. Progesterone is actually anti-estrogenic hormone. As you all know, in menstrual cycle, initial stage of the proliferative phase of the endometrium growth is stopped by the progesterone, which occurs in the luteal phase of the menstrual cycle or the secretory phase of the endometrium. What happens is in initial half there is excessive growth of the endometrium because of the progesterone. When that stops or decrease the estrogen, and later on progesterone will decrease the level or the stop the level of this thing endometrial growth. So exactly that happens in the ectopic endometrium as well. If your patient is prescribed with any type of the progesterone, either oral or patch or injectable, or the you can nowadays IUCDs, things like that. If the patient is continuously given progesterone, or endometrium will be atrophic. That means the endometrium, there will be no more growth of the endometrial tissue, and the patient symptom will be less in endometriosis. That's why how it acts in the endometriosis. So you can prescribe progesterone in various forms, like DMPA is one contraception, 3 monthly injection. We can prescribe this medication for that patient, for the patient with endometriosis, either in the form of the monthly injection or 3 monthly injection. So I told you progesterone, the main action of the progesterone in endometrium is causes atrophy of the endometrium. When this causes atrophy of the endometrium, there is no bleeding, there is no menstrual phase, there is no proliferative phase, and the patient's symptom will be decreased. So this can be the best medication for those patients who doesn't want to be pregnant and is symptomatic in the form of the dysmenorrhea or in the form of the deep-seated pelvic pain and sometimes dyspareunia. So another medication is the aromatase inhibitors. I showed you the slide, what is the action of the aromatase in cellular level in case of endometriosis or in the context of estrogen. Aromatase is the key hormone in the formation of the estrogen, I told you. So when we use aromatase inhibitors, the production of the estrogen will be decreased in the cellular level. So aromatase inhibitors are the newcoming medications for the management of endometriosis. It decreases the local production of the estrogen at cellular level, target cells. So this is another good medication. It has got very less side effect, and this is easily available in the market also. This is costed. So next is the IUCD, intrauterine contraceptive device. Normally, IUCDs are of the two types. One is non-medicated IUCDs, another is medicated IUCDs. We are talking about the management of endometriosis. We are concerned about the hormone-containing medicated IUCDs, which is available in the form of the progesterone-containing IUCDs called the Progestasert, we can say. It is inserted into the uterine cavity, and a certain amount of the progesterone is released every day, and it acts in the locally in the intrauterine endometrium, as well as some percentage of that progesterone is also absorbed in the systemic circulation, and it can act in the ectopic endometrium as well. So those patients who is having severe dysmenorrhea with because of the endometriosis, and it can help for those patients and those patients who also doesn't want to be pregnant. So this is another novel medication which has got very less systemic side effect, and we can prescribe this medication for those patients. It has got dual action. One is it can also decreases the adenomyosis. Adenomyosis is one condition where there are endometrial tissue in the myometrium of the uterine wall. So that also helpful. That also is taken care by this type of progesterone containing IUCDs, and to some extent it also is helpful for the dysmenorrhea. So this medication does not have any effect or good effect for the management of infertility, because these are all the contraceptive medications and hormone-containing medications. So this is another medication can be used for the management of endometriosis. This is levonorgestrel IUCD. I told you in the form of intrauterine contraceptive device, which contains progesterone and released every day for the atrophy of the endometrium. So new drugs, there are various new drugs are coming with very less side effects and no or at all decreased hypoestrogenic effects. So these are the list of the new medications like LNG, IUD, IUCD. I told you in the form of its name. First IUCD hormone-containing IUCD called Mirena. And the next is the GnRH analogs, and another is the aromatase inhibitors, I told you. Another is the selective estrogen receptors modulators. These are the new coming medications which are not available in our context, but these are the very good medications for the management of endometriosis. Another is progesterone antagonist. Progesterone antagonist, how it works, doesn't know, but studies have shown that it has got very good effect in the case of endometriosis. And another is like selective progesterone receptors modulators again. These are they act on the target cellular level again. Another is angiotensinogen inhibitors also. They are also in studies, immunomodulators drugs, and there are various other medications which are being tried for the management of endometriosis, and they have got very less side effect in the form of less hypoestrogenic status, which has got very bad effect for the patient to continue the medication. So these are the new coming medication which has got very less side effects, but most of these medications are not available in our context. So surgical management, these are the various medications we talked about what can be given according to the priority of the patient and according to the symptom of the patient. We can prescribe first with various medications for sometimes starting from the 6 months to 2 years. You can give medications for the patient with endometriosis, and if that does not help, you have to go for various surgical methods for the management of endometriosis. Surgeries can be done either in the form of the minimum invasive surgery. You can go for the open surgery as well, and the destructive surgery can be done. That can be the laser destruction of the local tissue. So there are various types of modalities of the surgery done in the endometriosis. So what are the indications for surgeries? Advanced disease at the time of diagnosis or large lesions, they are not responding to medical treatment, and medical therapy is intolerable for the patient. Patient is having severe symptoms or side effects of that particular medical treatment, and if there is recurrence of the disease despite all this treatment, you have to go for surgery. And those patient in elderly parents, women, you can go for surgery. So these are the indications of the surgeries in endometriosis. Aim of the surgical management in endometriosis, as I told you in the beginning, our aim in the management of endometriosis is either to decrease or modulate the level of the hormone, or act at the target level. Either you can decrease the action of that particular hormone, or you just take out that ectopic endometrium so that there will be no symptoms. So either you have to resect that endometrium, or you have to decrease the effect of the hormone on that particular tissue. So coagulation of the peritoneal endometriotic lesion can be done, and adenolysis can be done because of the repeated intraperitoneal bleeding, as in the form of the menstruation, which happens in the normal uterus, that happens in the ectopic endometrium. Because of that repeated bleeding, there is a lot of chance of adhesion formation with the intestine, sometimes with the bladder, sometimes with the fallopian tubes, things like that. So you can do adenolysis in the form of surgery, which can be a minor surgery, which can be done with invasive surgery, or you can do with open surgeries as well. And when there is a mass or there is a lesion which is more than 3 centimeters, you have to take out that lesions in that particular endometriotic case, because that is not going to heal with medical management. More than 3 centimeters lesion has to be. Role of the surgery, I told you, infertility. In case of infertility with endometriosis, we had to do surgery. Otherwise, there is no if there is tubal obstruction, we have to release that tubal obstruction. So in case of infertility, always go for, if the patient has diagnosed endometriosis and she is unable to conceive for a long time, so you have to go for surgery, because medical management does not open the fallopian tube which is blocked by endometriosis. So always go for surgery. Laparoscopic breaking of the adenomyosis in the pelvic endometriotic tissue. And another is like minimum invasive surgery can be done with LUNA, is the laser uterosacral nerve ablation, that is done for the patient who has got deep-seated chronic pelvic pain. Okay. So this has got its own side effects and advantages and disadvantages. We are not going to discuss in detail about the LUNA, but basically what happens is those patients who got medical management, who got all the fulguration and the cystectomy and adenolalysis, everything, that despite all this medical management, the patient is not improving, patient is having chronic pelvic pain for a long time. Those patients who are towards the end of the reproductive age group, that patient can go for LUNA, which is the uterosacral nerve ablation. So the patient will not have pain after doing LUNA. This is another thing. And the prolapse, and the most important side effect of LUNA can be up to 10. There may be chances of the genital tract prolapse and the bladder dysfunction, because the knobs are ablated there. So that does not work, and the patient can have more than that also, or patient can have other symptoms also. Minimum invasive surgeries, like we can do through the vagina also. We can aspirate the fluid from the cul-de-sac if there is endometriosis and there is collection of the fluid in the pouch of Douglas. We can go through the vagina, through the posterior fornix. This is the cervix. Just posterior to the cervix is the posterior fornix, and this is the place where the fluid is accumulated in the cul-de-sac. We can aspirate that fluid, and for temporary relief of that pain, we can do this type of procedure for the patient with endometriosis and collection in the this thing, pouch of Douglas. Other things like destruction of the endometriotic tissue less than 3 cm by diathermy can be done with the laparoscopic surgery. We insert the laparoscope inside the abdomen, and if the lesions is less than 3 cm, we can burn that lesions either with a laser or by diathermy. But this is actually not a complete, this is not possible to completely destroy that tissue, because we cannot go deep into the tissue, because we don't know what are the stocks or vital stocks are there in the deep level. So this causes like a superficial ablation or the destruction of the tissue. Another is laser ablation. And large lesions, they are more than 3 centimeters, and large lesions mostly occur in the ovary in the form of the chocolate cyst, and chocolate cyst has to be removed, excised, for the relief of endometriotic symptoms, and for those patients who are infertile also, because the repeated bleeding in the chocolate cyst can cause adhesion, and later on the patient will not conceive. So that has to be tackled in the first stage, diagnosed. Laparoscopy for the management of endometriosis, like laparoscopy can be done for the diagnosis of endometriosis and for the treatment of endometriosis. Diagnosis in the form of when we, if the patient is having chronic pelvic pain for a long time, patient is unable to conceive for a long time, we do diagnostic laparoscopy, directly visualize the pelvic organ. We can see the uterus, you can see the course of the fallopian tube, and you can see the ovaries. You can see the pelvic cavity, whether it contains something like endometriotic tissue. So that can be used in the diagnosis, and while doing diagnostic laparoscopy, you can take out the biopsy from the suspected area and you can diagnose the endometriosis. So laparoscopy that can be done for the diagnosis, and you can do for the laparoscopy for the treatment of the lesions also. Like you can remove the chocolate cyst, you can do the adenolalysis through the laparoscope, and you can do ablation of the ectopic endometrium through the laparoscope. Sometimes, if needed, you can do the radical surgery through the laparoscope, as well as while doing while managing a case of endometriosis. For the surgical management, hysterectomy and bilateral sulking oophorectomy can be done through the laparoscopy also. So it has got very good role in the management of endometriosis. Combined therapy, I told you, when the patient does not respond to the medical treatment and the patient is in the advanced stage in the early, at the time of the diagnosis, go for the surgical treatment, and if those both of them not helping, then we have to go both from combined treatment like medical treatment as well as the surgical treatment. While doing this treatment, how to do medical and surgical together? Like pre-operatively, if you plan for the surgery in endometriosis, pre-operatively you have to give GnRH agonist for that particular patient. It reduces the size of that particular lesion, and it also makes the cleavage in between the abnormal tissue and the normal tissue, and that will be easy to remove the endometrial tissue. So it causes atrophy, and it creates the cleavage, so that the removal will be easy while doing surgery. And post-operatively, after that, after 3 months of GnRH agonist, you do surgery. What type of surgery is needed depending upon the scenario, case of the and the priority of the patient. After doing surgery, also we have to look for the residual lesions after some time, and you have to evaluate the patient's symptom, and if she needs, we have to start medical treatment as well. So starting with the medical therapy, after 3 months go for the surgery, and even after surgery we have to give medical therapy for that particular patient for a time duration which is determined by the priority of the patient, whether this is infertility or the pain or whatever is the complaint. So these are the various steps how we manage a case of endometriosis. Always start with the medical treatment, and if the lesion is advanced at the time of diagnosis, go for the surgical treatment. If the medical treatment and the surgical treatment does not doing separately doing good with the aim of the resolution of the disease, you have to go for the combined treatment. Okay, so this is the conclusion of endometriosis, the class, whole class. Endometriosis, always remember, this is a chronic disease which occurs in the reproductive age group of the patient, because this is a hormonal dependent condition. So you have to understand, this is a chronic, costly disease, because you have to use various hormones which are really expensive, and it needs multidisciplinary treatment. You need to, like, sometimes see the gastroenterologist for the GI endometriosis. You have to see the urosurgeon for the urinary tract endometriosis. So only the obstetric gynecologist cannot manage the case of endometriosis. So this is a chronic disease, is a costly, very costly disease in terms of medical treatment and surgical treatment as well. And this is a multidisciplinary conditions which needs other speciality also, and profound personal and economic impact because of the various reasons, like the patient is sometimes debilitating, and patient has severe symptoms, pain symptoms, is not work, cannot work properly, cannot doing daily activities easily. So there are a lot of social factors also which is caused by the endometriosis, very severe type of endometriosis. So timely intervention and appropriate multifactorial treatment may restore the quality of the life and preserve the fertility in those patients. And we have to always take seriously for those young patients who are in the reproductive age group, can be presented to you as simple as with dysmenorrhea. You cannot overlook it like simple dysmenorrhea. That can be a first complaint of the endometriosis that has to be tackled in time, so that the regression of the disease will be there. All right, this is about management of endometriosis. Any question, class? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it all clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Really? So I'm happy. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.